Happy Pride! Still basically glitter repellent. Not that that's a bad thing. This week I'm doing some mini-rants to celebrate Pride. For more on that, see my last video on Kill Your Darlings and Milk. I will try to put a link up here, but I have no idea if it'll work. These will be more about my personal opinions and biases, so I'll try to analyze them as both a proud member of the LGBT community and as a union film worker. I will cover the following elements: pre-production, production, post-production, continuity, music, acting, nudity, rawr, LGBT representation of the key cast, and LGBT representation in the key crew. And our genre today is Gods Save Me. Thriller. And believe me, we are going from serious to now the very silly. I'll be reviewing 2 Minutes Later and Siren in the DarK. Neither of these movies really work. Neither is really better than the other. I mean, 2 Minutes Later might have a better story, acting, and I guess pacing, but they're both like wannabe adult films. Porn. Without the actual sex. Except maybe Siren. Let's get what passes for a plot out of the way. And I'm just going to bounce back and forth with my elements because these are both perfect examples of why I chose these particular elements. 2 Minutes Later is about a set of gay twins, but one twin, Kyle, is murdered in the first 2 minutes, and the other twin, Michael, pretends to be him while teaming up with a lesbian private detective. Aw, I guess lesbian gays can be friends. To find him, I guess? Like, they never really explain what happened to the first twin's body. Anyway, the first twin, Kyle, was an asshole photographer who took a lot of male nudes. So they question the dudes, and one lady, on a camera card that is mailed to Kyle by Kyle, with a pre-printed label, but they can't make out the zip code. It's 19173. I mean, I could make it out on DVD resolution, but they can't make it out. They also meet Kyle's assistant/boyfriend, Joey, who is just the worst actor in this film. The poor little guy is adorable, but if they cast him, they really should have rewritten his character as mute, although I'm fairly certain he'd have messed that up too. Anyway, Kyle's killer somehow thinks he didn't finish the job. Actually, I think maybe he couldn't find the body in the forest. Maybe Kyle is alive. Please don't make a sequel. And hunts down the brother. After Michael has sex with Joey, he figures out that the reason Kyle was killed is that he accidentally photographed a murder. And then he just leaves Joey there. Like, why not pin a kill me sign to his head? Joey's character did not deserve to die. That shouldn't be the punishment for bad acting. So there's a scuffle, a climax, and Michael decides to become a junior PI or whatever with a lesbian. Siren in the DarK. And by the way, that is Siren in the DarK. The K is capitalized. Oh my gods. It's a hot mess. I think it would take hours to explain the plot, so I'll skip everything that doesn't matter, which is exactly what the director should have done. A male siren, I guess, lures gay men into a remote cabin with a female partner who sends them to him, and he has sex with them and then kills them, or she kills them. I guess they take turns. The movie follows the 2 most recent victims, who were, I guess, boyfriends? And the blonde has, like, a troubled past. That's it. The director manages to stretch this into 1 hour and 15 minutes by showing copious amounts of sex scenes, one of which I'm at least 70% sure was unsimulated, and piling on what seemed like dozens of characters who show up and disappear randomly. Now, my elements. Pre-production. I seriously doubt either of these movies had more than 2 weeks of pre-production, and that includes writing the script. Siren probably had less than 2 days. They're both thrown together with little care about the set, who the characters are. 2 Minutes Later has some semblance of concern for wardrobe, having several companies provide them wardrobe and underwear. But I'm fairly certain Siren just had the actors show up in whatever they were wearing that day. Siren needed to obliterate the second half of what passed for a second act, and remove about 75% of the characters. 2 Minutes Later needed someone who knew what they were doing to do a story edit on this. Maybe make it a period piece or something. Production. Both of these directors' priorities were getting these actors naked. Sure, they had a story. In fact, both movies have an interesting concept, but neither is executed with any sort of concern for anything other than showing skin. Neither director seems to want to do full-on porn. They want to be taken seriously as artists, but they want to skin up both the men and the women in both movies. Okay, you can do that. Artistic nudity is a thing, but flesh out your idea, not just the actors. Run it by a story editor. Make the script good first. Like, if these films had a good script, they could have been mind-blowing. Sorry, that should have been in pre-pro. I do indies too. I have friends that do indies. My movies are not always brilliant. I admit that fully. But once it's out there, be prepared for criticism. I am. And my motto is, just because you have no budget doesn't mean you have to act like it. Post-production. What post-production? Continuity. Oh my god, it's a nightmare. On both films. 2 minutes later has people bouncing around, glasses changing hands, the works. And Abigail apparently has a magical transforming purse that goes from standard red purse to little black clutch for no reason at all. Jessica Reiser-Milne, you're getting roasted, girl. Except this is your only credit in this field. You have one other credit as a costume designer. Siren, I mean... At least the actors spend most of the movie naked, so there's not much chance for costume continuity errors, but there are still enough continuity errors, including Joshua's hair that changes lengths every 3 minutes or so, to drive me up the freaking wall. And here's the funny thing, the script supervisors were Luke Cross, who I can only assume is related to the lead actor Orion Cross, and because they need two scripties, Janet Elaine, who was also... wait for it, transportation and craft services. This is what happens when you don't care who your script supervisor is. You get these movies. Music. This is where Siren has 2 minutes later beat. I mean, the music for both is bad. I mean, it's horrible. But 2 minutes later has like 4 or 5 really terrible repetitive tracks and replays them multiple times throughout the movie. Siren has multiple lame AF tracks that get repeated maybe once or twice, but they don't make my ears bleed. And the songs in 2 minutes later are exactly why I made this section. They're just so bad. Acting. Nobody in either of these films can act. The audition probably consisted of asking if they were willing to show skin. If they were the first ones to say yes, they got cast. That's it. There's a great scene in 2 minutes later where a drag queen performs and she looks like she's doing it at gunpoint. And I love the fact that Siren credits someone as female victim. Like, girl, watching this film, I hear you. Oh, and the best actor in 2 minutes later is Houston Bernard. He has great facial reaction. He's campy AF. He's great. I wanted to follow his character and see where they go instead of this one. But this blew my mind. He's also the composer. Nudity. Literally every main character of the cast in both movies shows skin, including people from the crew who I guess wanted to get naked on camera. The composer, Houston Bernard, in 2 minutes later, and production assistant Richard Bolander in Siren. Female nudity is just TNA, and the guy that plays the cop in Siren only shows his ass. Everyone else is full frontal, and there are sex scenes in both. 2 minutes later is all simulated, including a great scene where Michael basically has sex with a blanket and 2 legs sticking out. And I'm pretty sure one of the sex scenes, the first one, in Siren, is unsimulated. This is literally the only reason to watch these movies, is to look at pretty naked people. LGBT representation in the key cast. I mean, I think Michael Molina, who plays Michael in 2 minutes later, might be straight, possibly bi, but that is just my instinct from the way he plays a gay character. He might just be that bad of an actor. I'm pretty sure all the girls in 2 minutes later are at least bisexual, and the girls in Siren are all straight. Other than that, probably all gay. And to be clear, some of these I verified, some I'm guessing, but I'm not sorting it out. Let's just say there were gays in front of the camera and behind it. Gay dudes wrote and directed both, although, interestingly, Siren was co-directed by a woman. She has a small role in this movie, and Why they let an actor this terrible co-direct, I don't know. She probably contributed like $100 to the budget or let them shoot in her cabin or something. So, to be clear, unless you want some skin to be playing in the background of a sexy party, and I mean party, not orgy, neither one is really porn exactly. There is no reason to watch these movies, and there is never a reason to watch either of these movies with the sound on. It will probably hurt your ears in several different ways. Siren has a sequel, I guess? It was like revisited as another movie called Deadly Screams of a Naked Siren. I'm honestly tempted to watch it. This movie could have been a camp classic. I was laughing my balls off multiple times at how ridiculous it was, but the second act dragged so much that I lost any enthusiasm. But the new film doesn't have the female co-director, and I'm genuinely curious about that one, so who knows, maybe that one will get a rant. As always, thank you friends for watching my rant. Please consider becoming a Patreon for as little as $1 a month by clicking the link below. Craig Butler did, so he gets this shout out. Please hit like, also share my videos, and if you're not already, please subscribe. Happy Pride! Okay, that time I just threw it in front of the camera, so it couldn't have hit me.